Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm here to talk about weight training and gaining muscle mass, which is what I've been trying to do. So just a bit of a background of myself. I traditionally trained most of my life for martial arts and endurance events. As a kid, I did some powerlifting and weightlifting. At about 14, 15 years old, that was just like a brief year stint. But then obviously I had to kind of choose between sports. I couldn't do everything. I was focusing on karate, I was surfing, I was also doing weightlifting and powerlifting, and I kind of needed to balance things out, and I ended up going the martial arts route. I tended more to focus on that, and I mostly steered clear from weights since my powerlifting days of when I was 15 years old, all the way up to about, you could say, 33, 34 years old. I haven't really bothered with weights, okay? I mean, the most weights I've lifted, in between was like my 3 kilogram dumbbells now and again, like for shoulder stability and stuff like that. More had to do with physiotherapy than anything else. Anyway, and then I got older. I started to feel like, my joints were hurting a bit from all the impact of running. I love running and endurance events. I did the Spartan sprint and the Spartan super, and I was training for the Spartan beast and so on. And I decided, with age, you kind of need to focus more on stability exercises and strength exercises to support your frame, your body frame. Okay, so that's kind of where my research took me, and I was like, what the hell? Where I live, there are no martial arts gyms really. There's no martial arts training whatsoever, and basically martial arts in Arabia is just dead, right? I mean, they are, but it's not really good and so on. Anyway, I still needed to train. I still love training. I decided to run initially, but running was kind of, in this area where I live, running is not so awesome because, you keep being stopped by the locals or by the police. Where are you going? Because they don't understand that you can run for fun, that you're running for exercise. They don't understand that nobody runs here. Okay, I live in a little village in Saudi Arabia. No one runs, so nobody understands it. So eventually I decided, I need to just focus on training in a gym, basically, where you go there to train and people understand that what you are doing is training and nobody will bother you, right? So anyway, so then I decided, okay, let's do that. And now I'm doing sort of strength training, okay? Now, I'm the type of person that I need to have a goal. I can't just train to train. So when I do running, for example, I try to run the 5 kilometer under 20 minutes. So I train to run the 5 kilometer under 20 minutes. I run with a time log, basically. I time myself every day, my daily runs, and I make sure that I decrease the time it takes to run a particular run. So for example, I started out my 5 kilometer run at about 25 minutes for 5 kilometers. And then I worked the way down to 23, then I worked my way down to 21, and then I worked my way down to 20, then I got it to 19 minutes and 51 seconds, and then that was like, okay, good job, pat myself on the back, okay, next goal. Try to do 10 kilometers in under 40 minutes first, and so on. So this is kind of how I train. I don't just train to train. I set a goal and I'm like, right, I'm gonna work towards this. Okay, I watch my progress each week. I say, okay, based on this trajectory, I can possibly reach this goal at this time, and then I push and try to do it. If I don't get it right, I say, well, anyway, I've gotten it down to this. Okay, let's extend the time frame a little bit and see how far I get, etc., etc. What additional strength exercise do I need for running, and so on. So I'm very scientific about the way I train. Okay, so anyway, so now I took an interest in weight training and strength training. Okay, I started 15 weeks ago with this program. 15 weeks of training rather, 16 weeks ago. Okay, why? Because after some research, I discovered that it is good to take a week off from training after every 8 weeks of training. So it could be after every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, or even every 12 weeks. But you must have a week off. Okay, that is kind of what my research has indicated. So I thought, let me try it. Okay, let's find a happy medium between all the various opinions, and I decided 8 weeks. Okay, so I trained for 8 weeks, took 1 week off, and now I'm in my second 8 weeks. I have 1 more week to go, so this is week 15, okay, of training, because I don't count the break, okay, the week break, the 7-day break in between. So what have I done, okay, and how far have I gotten? You'll be seeing some videos and pictures and footage of me running in the background as I talk, okay? So when I started out, guys, it came off the back of quarantine, and, you know, we all understand what the quarantine is about, so it came off the back of that. So there was obviously no training for a long time. I did some training at home during quarantine for 3 months, but it was focused on martial arts. So it was boxing training, Muay Thai training, okay? Then I decided, okay, gyms are open, I can go sort of for the weight training goal, okay? Now there were certain things I didn't want to happen, and certain things I wanted, okay? So basically, according to my experience, when you do excessive weight training and you start becoming bulky, you know, you start getting those biceps and things like that, you find that you slow down, okay? You slow down. So because I love my martial art, I like boxing, I didn't want to compromise entirely on my cardio and on my ability to throw a fast punch, you know, so I had to keep that in mind, okay? At the same time, I wanted to bulk up, to get more muscle mass, okay? So how was I gonna do it? So I devised a plan, okay? I decided that the best way to bulk up would be to focus on compound lifts, because compound lifts strengthen you overall. You're not working one muscle at a time, okay? So I've included in my workout routine, my weekly workout routine, the compound lifts, and to make sure the first 8 weeks anyway, to cover 1 compound lift a day. 1 compound lift a day. So a typical week would start with, for example, because I would mix it up, I would start with leg day and focus on squats, the traditional powerlifting squat. And I would do it on various with various rep ranges, okay? So why is that, okay? Because the strength rep range is anywhere between 5 and 4 reps, okay? But the muscle development, where it's focused on muscle growth, is above that. For example, anywhere maybe from 6 to 12 or 6 to 15 reps, okay? Hypertrophy is the word they often use for it. Anyway, so I mixed it up. So basically what I did was I would do the lighter sets with higher reps and the heavier sets with lower reps. So I would start with 12 reps. Okay, first I would do a warm-up set, okay, before anything, which would be usually 15 reps, just to warm up the muscle, okay? Then I would start with 12 reps, 10, 8, 6, okay? So that's how I do it. So it would be 36 basically, 36 reps in total, right, for squats. And then I would do 1 or 2 max reps. So that's how I do it, okay? So first, of course, when I started out, I couldn't really squat more than 80 kilograms, okay? In the beginning, 80 was like pushing it. And actually it took me a week or 2 to actually comfortably squat 80, okay? But eventually, now I am squatting 120 kilograms comfortably, okay? Which also took me a while because I kind of got stuck at 100 for like two weeks, okay? And then I got to 120 eventually. So I would have one day where there's squats, and then that's the compound lift, and then I would do the other leg exercises in between. Okay, leg extension, etc. Whatever I want to do, basically. And I wouldn't have like a set thing, because I wanted my muscle training, the isolated exercises, to vary. Okay, so every week it would be different, basically, but randomly different, as long as I get the main compound lift in good and solid. Okay, then I would do bench presses, of course, on the next day, the very next day, because look, when you train your legs, okay, your legs are resting because now you're not focused on it all, so you can actually go in the very next day. I would train my bench pressing, which is a compound lift, and I would sometimes also include on that day, if I'm not gonna do manage to do it again, I would include the overhead press. Okay, but most days I wouldn't. So it would be bench presses and other chest exercises. So I would do the main lift again, which is the bench press on the flat bench, and then I would do the incline and the decline and triceps. Okay, so chest and triceps I do together, but again mainly focused on the compound lift. Okay, what I do regarding the others would be also varied. And then of course the third day I would come in, my legs would have recovered somewhat, and I would go into deadlift. Okay, so deadlift is obviously goes with back. So I would do the deadlift again in that set, in that range, 12, 10, 8, and 6. And then do back exercises from there, lat pull downs, back, I don't even know what you call it, where you're facing forward and you pull the weight towards you, right? And so on. I gotta get actually the names of all these things. Anyway, but I would do a range of back exercises, and then obviously biceps, okay? And then biceps, I would take it easy. So I would push the biceps, but again, like I say, because I like boxing, I don't want to slow down my punch, and this muscle, the bicep muscle, is not very big. Biceps are not good for boxers. Okay, so I would sort of do the bicep curls would happen once a week. Okay, so anyway, and then I would restart. So I would do the compound lifts, basically flat out for the first 3 days. They would be the compound lifts, and then I would the next 3 days again do the compound lifts, basically with other auxiliary exercises in between. Okay, that way I do a range of exercises. So to begin with, the first 8 weeks I would train 4 to 5 days a week. Okay, and on the 4th day, right, I would do an exercise that is doubling up on an exercise I already did that week. So for example, so week 1, I would do the first 3 days would tackle all compound lifts, and then when I go to the 4th day, I would do legs again. Okay, if I did legs again that week, the next week I'll come back, I again do the first 3 compound lifts, then on the 4th day I would do bench presses again. Okay, then on the 3rd week I would again do all 3 compound lifts, then I would do deadlifts again. So that's how I did it 4 to 5 days a week. If I come in on the 5th day, it depends how I feel. Okay, I would do some additional stuff to retain my cardio. So I would do some skipping, some jumping around, jumping over things, jumping on things, explosive exercises, right? More sort of boxing orientated exercises, less weight orientated, but I use free weights, for example. So the 5th day would be like more or less this or that, whatever I want to do, random stuff. Okay, when I do the 5th day. Okay, what about cardio? So on a given day in gym, I would do a different cardio exercise for the first 10 minutes, okay, to warm up. So one day I would do running. So running is usually on a chest day. Why? Because I'm not going to be using my legs, okay? Cycling I do on a squat day because it warms up the quads well, right? So I do cycling on the squat day for 10 minutes, and I do skipping on the odd day. So if I'm doing, for example, deadlifts, I might do skipping on a deadlift day, or I might do running again, okay? So I do 10 minutes of cardio before every session, but I vary the cardio. And also I don't have a set pattern, again, because your body responds better when you vary things, when you shock it with different stuff. So I have certain things scheduled and other things just completely random, okay? So that was for the first 8 weeks. After the first 8 weeks, I went from weighing 69.9, so let's round it off to 70, right, to about 72, 72.5. So I gained about 2.5 kilograms, okay? People are saying, yes, well, you can't say it's 2.5 kilograms of muscle, right? It could be 2.5 kilograms of fat. Well, I lost this, okay? I lost whatever I had here, so it can't be 2.5 kilograms of fat, and I have no way. I live in a little village. We don't have the fancy facilities to actually do, like, a proper fat index kind of a test. Anyway, then I rested for a week, and then I went on to my second week, okay? So I'm on my second set of 8 weeks, sorry. So after 8 weeks, I rested 1 week and went on to my second set of 8 weeks, which is what I'm doing now, okay? And then I changed it up, and I'm going to tell you how. But before I go there, let me tell you what about eating and supplementation. I found actually the most important thing in weight training, actually, guys, is eating, is how you eat, okay? If you eat properly, you're likely to see a lot more progress. So what do you eat? Okay, well, to gain mass, you need a lot of protein, of course, but you also need a lot of fats and a lot of carbs, healthy carbs, okay? Probably the most expensive part of training is actually the food, incidentally, right? And because it's very difficult to get enough protein from the foods you eat, you might need to supplement it, which is what I did, with protein powder, okay? So I bought this year, okay? See here, this is whey protein, okay? I think they should pay me for this advertisement, this free advertisement. Muscle Farm Combat whey protein, right? So what I do is I take this once a day, only once. Now you could take it 2 or 3 times a day, but I take it once a day because I try to get a lot of protein from my food. Tell you about that now, okay? So this I take during the day, anytime during the day. I don't actually take protein specifically after I train necessarily. I know a lot of recommendations are that you should take the protein immediately after you train, or within the first 20-30 minutes after you train. I don't always do that. Sometimes I just take the protein because I feel a little bit hungry, and it's almost like a meal supplement in some ways. I take it with milk, so that's fat because I need obviously to gain. So that's what I do. And then before I sleep at night, I take Casein Protein, this one. Okay, this is a slow release protein. It's very good for restoring your muscle and muscle growth during the night, okay? So I take this during the night, okay? So that's two protein shakes a day, basically, okay? Then what I eat is that I eat eggs, okay? So I try to have eggs in the morning for breakfast. I have a very busy work schedule. I'm an English lecturer, so I work at a university. I have lots of papers to work, so I don't have time to act like a professional athlete here, right? But I try to eat a healthy diet, so I eat a lot of eggs. I eat tuna, fish, chicken, meat, right? Every day, basically. So almost every day, you could say I get my 30 grams of protein or so from food. from natural food, 30 or 40 grams from natural food, and then I get my other proteins from the protein shakes, right? So you could say like this one, for example, is 25 grams of protein, right? And this is 25 grams of protein. So basically I get your 90 or 100 grams of protein every day, right? But that's not enough, of course. You can't just eat protein. So I do eat my red meats. For lunch I usually have red meat, and I leave the fat on there. So I get the fat from that. And then I do my vegetables, broccoli, carrots, and even some potatoes, and basically eat a lot, okay? I found that cutting out sugar is very helpful, so I don't do sugar at all, except for, like, I don't drink sugar in tea, and I don't have sugar in my house, basically. I don't drink sugar at all in anything, but I will have the occasional chocolate here and there. It's like a cheat. Usually, if I'm looking for a nice cup of coffee, I usually have some chocolate, but that hasn't seemed to affect me at all. That pre-workout is very good. You know, this is a good one, C4. It has creatine in, so you don't need to add creatine to your diet if you're taking this, okay? Some other things you could try if you want to really gain mass is like serious mass, for example, calorie shake, okay? Protein and calorie shake. They're kind of expensive. They kind of get used up fast also, because it's like 12 or 14 servings in a jar, you know. I wouldn't waste my time. I tried that at one point a long time ago, but I wouldn't kind of really waste my time with that. Okay. Just eat a lot, you know, eat 3 meals at least a day. That's like regular people, or, you know, make them big meals, or eat 5 or 6 smaller meals if you can't, you know, get that down. I have a problem where I don't really have much of an appetite, so it's kind of very difficult for me to eat a lot. So I try to just, you know, eat more frequently. That does help, okay? So yeah, let's go to my second 8 weeks, okay? So I finished at about 72.5 kilograms after my first 8 weeks. Now I'm into my second 8 weeks. I'm on week 15, okay, which is week number 7 for the second set. And I'm now on 75 kilograms, okay? So I got to 75 kilograms. What did I do differently? Well, in this second 8 weeks, of course, I went in stronger. And I also changed up again to train now 6 days a week, okay? Well, I've tried to sustain 6 days a week. This last 2 weeks I wasn't able to because of work, really. Some stressful situations, but I have been training I trained at least 4 days a week last week and this week, okay? But before that it was 6 days. Anyway, what was the plan initially, which I wasn't exactly able to stick to, was to train 6 days a week, do the 3 compound lifts over 3 days, and then restart the cycle over 3 days. So basically I need 6 days. So I would do each lift twice every week. That was the idea. I managed to pull that off for the first 4 weeks. But then I found that 6 times a week compromised the quality of my lifts. Okay, so that is a mental note to myself that I made. 6 times a week is basically too much, okay, to do compound lifts, because the compound lifts really requires you to come in strong, you know, to do justice to the lifts anyway. Doing max reps twice a week is too much, okay, I found. So, I mean, I tried it and I found that to be the case. So I would say that the 6 days a week lifting schedule can work if you make 1 day heavy and 1 day light. So in other words, the first 3 days of compound lifts you could make heavy, and the next 3 days you could make lighter. Or you could vary it. You could make, for example, squat heavy on Monday, or in our case we start our week on Sunday. So squat heavy on Sunday, and then deadlift heavy, for example, on Friday and bench press heavy somewhere in the middle of the week. So you could, because doing max reps and going really heavy really does tire you out, okay? You do kind of feel the need to recover from that. So you could do your compound lifts twice a week, but not very heavy twice a week, basically. So that's what I discovered, eventually, trial and error. Now I sort of have a handle on that, and that took me up to 75 kilograms, okay? So I basically got 5 kilograms of muscle in 15 weeks, although arguably it could be muscle and fat, it doesn't matter really, right? I feel like, and I look like I've gotten actually bigger in terms of muscle. And then I've added something, guys, also to my training in these last 8 weeks, which is to do 100 sit-ups at the end of each session. At the end of each gym session, I do 100 sit-ups, okay? Even on the days that I skip. Like I say, I try to go 6 days a week, although I sometimes skip. So when I skip a day, I will do my 100 sit-ups at home, okay? I would do 100 sit-ups, I would do 100 push-ups and 100 squats if I happen to skip a day. So that's like a supplementary type of thing, like maintenance kind of thing, okay? And then obviously I take one day off, which is, for me, a Friday, which is what these 8 weeks are about. I'm going to change it up again for the next 8 weeks. Again, like I say, I think that the 6 days a week is too much for me. I don't know, it might work for other people. I'm probably gonna go to a 5-day week, 2-day off split for the next 8 weeks and see how far that gets me. My goal is eventually to get to 80 kilograms, and I'm thinking that if I could within 16 weeks get to 75, it's going to take me at least twice as long to get to 80.